Class project. Before I tell you about the class project, I need to tell you a little bit about audiobooks. As I mentioned in the previous chapter, it wasn't until I wrote my third book that I decided to create an audiobook. If you want to create an audiobook, then I suggest hiring a narrator. Indeed, I found my narrator on the Fiverr website. To be honest, I really didn't want to narrate my own audiobook. What was important to me, though, was having my audiobook available on Audible. Unfortunately, if I had tried to narrate my own book, it would simply be another project that wasn't completed. You may think that I'm trying to discourage you from narrating your audiobook. Actually, though, I think it would be awesome if you narrated your book. However, if you don't want to tackle the technical side of audiobooks, then you should hire a narrator. After your book has been narrated, then you will send your audio files to a company called ACX. Sadly, if your files don't meet ACX standards, then they will be rejected. I found this out the hard way when my audio files were rejected. However, if you are persistent, then eventually your audio files will be accepted. After your audio files have been accepted by ACX, it won't be long before your audiobook is available on Audible. Now you can cross one more thing off your to-do list. Doesn't it feel great when you're not procrastinating? In this course, I've encouraged you to stop procrastinating with your writing. Indeed, the title of this course is Stop Procrastinating and Start Writing. In other words, if you want to be a writer, then you need to write. You don't need to write a lot each day, but you need to write something. The reason that I keep repeating this message is because I want you to be successful with your writing. Did you know that only a small percentage of people ever write a book? Although most people would like to write one, they aren't sure how to do it. However, now that you've completed this course, you know what it takes to become a self-published author. If you're serious about becoming an author, it's now time to start writing your book. Indeed, some of you may have already started writing your book. So if you're already writing your book, that's even better. However, I encourage all of my students to participate in the class project. This project won't be complicated, and it will give you a roadmap so that you can start writing your book. In other words, I'm not asking you to do something that's a waste of time. What I need you to do is to create a table of contents for your book. For instance, the first book that I wrote was divided into 3 sections. These sections were writing, blogging, and self-publishing. Writing, blogging, and self-publishing also happened to be the title of my book. Then within each section, I had 7 chapters. So if you multiply 7 times 3, this meant that there were 21 chapters in my book. Now obviously, you don't need to have the same amount of sections or chapters in your book. I'm simply using this example from my own book to get you thinking about your class project. After you have decided how many chapters that you want to have in your book, it's time to name them. For example, the first chapter in my first book was titled Nonfiction. In this particular chapter, I wrote 1,000 words about writing nonfiction. Then in my second chapter, I wrote 1,000 words about writing fiction. After that, my third chapter was about research. In other words, I was writing a book about how to write a book. When I told other people what I was doing, they thought I was joking. At least most people did. The reason that I'm telling you this is because I don't want other people's opinions to discourage you. Personally, I didn't care what other people thought about my writing abilities. This was because I had confidence that I could write a high-quality book. So follow my example and have confidence in your own writing abilities. Something else I would suggest while working on your class project is to decide how long you want your chapters to be. With my first book, I wanted all my chapters to be 1,000 words long. Obviously, not all authors will want their chapters to be the same length. However, this method has worked well for me. With my second and third books, I wrote more words for each chapter, but I had fewer chapters. Now, some of you may be wondering, what happens if you want to change the title of one of your chapters? If this is the case, then go ahead and change the title of that chapter. In fact, you could change the titles of your chapters even after you have started writing your book. In other words, your table of contents isn't set in stone. Indeed, the only thing that is set in stone is that you can't procrastinate. So once you have figured out your table of contents, then it's time to start writing your first chapter. Also, I recommend deciding who you want to dedicate your book to. I'm hoping that many of you will take part in this class project. Indeed, I'm looking forward to seeing your table of contents.